Hey folks, how's it going? In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly run this deep research agent across OpenAI, Gemini, and Ollama. So we will be using Gemini 2.0, OpenAI's O3 mini model, and Ollama's DeepSeek-R1 research model, thinking model rather, in order to get the output. So now this takes quite some time. So I'm going to turn this search on and I'm going to go out and talk to my team and come back once this is done.
A few moments later.
So the output for all of these is ready, and as you can see, Gemini took 260 seconds, so roughly 4 minutes. OpenAI took 69, so slightly more than a minute, and Ollama took pretty long, 5 minutes. But the output for all of these is now generated, and the models used for each of these were O3 Mini, Gemini 2.0 Flash, and DeepSeek-R1 latest. Let's look at the output. So the market for AI-powered social media management is experiencing rapid expansion driven by so on and so forth, and is expected to grow significantly over next few years. Several platforms offer this solution, scheduling and so on. Key findings: market growth, Feed Hive, Social Bee, Vista Social, and some other tools that are making noise here. The market of AI-powered social media management tools is significant. Okay, so basically it's a simple product report, but let's look at how O3 Mini did this, right? So obviously this looks relatively longer than this, and it's actually also citing a bunch of different things, which is important. So 2.2 billion, 10.3 billion with respect to numbers, and this is how long the summary itself is, which is actually very good. And then you look at the key findings: global AI in social media is undergoing robust growth, with market sizes projected to multiply nearly 5-fold by 2029. AI powered auto commenters are a niche, offer distinct benefits. Major platforms integrating auto comment features with tools like Zapier, Sprout Social, and so on. And then it also talks about the markets and markets reports and so on, and bunch of different references where the data comes from. As far as the Ollama one goes, or the DeepSeek-R1 model goes, it's actually better than Gemini when it comes to the output, because this does cite a few numbers here, which the Gemini results do not. And then there is the Hotsuite auto post, Buffer smart feed, Sprout Social content auto responder. The market is growing rapidly, and so on and so forth. And then there are a bunch of different details around this as well. So it appears that if I were to choose a model for my agentic flow, without a question, I would choose the OpenAI's O3 mini model to begin with. Just look at how long the response is versus, Gemini and DeepSeek-R1. I would second choose to go with DeepSeek-R1, because although I'm using a smaller variant of the model here, which is 7 billion parameter, you can actually use the 70 billion parameter, which is a longer model, and the output here can be significantly improved as opposed to what you see here right now. Plus the references here are pretty short, while the references for Gemini and O3 mini are very, very long. So I would definitely choose DeepSeek-R1 as my second preferred model and Gemini as the last preferred model. It looks like I'm using Gemini 2.0, which is like the fastest and I think right now the best model for of Google. But note that this is the light version. There's the better version there as well. So let's do one more run with that model, and let's use O1 mini here. And for Ollama, let me see what I can use. Let's open terminal and do Ollama list. You can see I have Gemma to 2 billion parameter model, Quen to 5 billion parameter model, and yeah, it does not appear I have any other model. So let's continue using DeepSeek for this and see if we can run this for another query. So I'm going to rerun this, and this time I'm going to say market for AI powered Amazon ads reporting product, mention top tools in the space, and they're leveraging AI for Amazon ads optimization and management. So I'm going to do start research, and I'm going to go for some time, and I'm going to come back when this is done.
A few minutes later.
Just to quickly kind of drop in a note here, you would see that a bunch of the error responses here, because either DeepSeek-R1 or Gemini 2.0 Flash are likely failing at certain points of time to give out the standard responses. And this kind of leads the large language models or the agentic workflows like Crew AI to not understand what the models mean. And which is why you would see these error red lines here indicating that they are retrying again and again and again in order to get more structured output. Note that this is one of the drawbacks of using these, language models that have the thinking potential, because they will likely not respond to you in a more structured format. And it's kind of nice that O3 mini or O1 mini, being a thinking model, does respond to you in the format that we want, right? And you can see Ollama, in fact, was able to get the reports faster than Gemini 2.0 Flash. It took around 4 minutes to get us, over 4 minutes to get us the response. While if you look at Gemini 2.0 Flash, it's still running. And I've faced this problem multiple times, that it's throwing this error because the model is not responding in the format that we want the model to respond. And it's ending up failing every other step, which means we're not able to get the output. Now you can obviously work around that by changing the temperature here, but that's still not going to do the trick. So while this is still going on, let's quickly go ahead and take a look at the code with respect to what we're doing. So we are using Streamlit for UI, and we are using Crew AI for agentic workflow. We are using LangChain for, oh no, we're not using LangChain anymore. So we're using just the Crew AI tools. Initially, what we do is we get 3 LLM options. So if you look at the UI, we decide which models to select here. I have selected all 3 because I want to compare all 3. You can choose to compare any 2 or add more LLM options. The next thing we do is we create agents. So we have deep research agent, analyst agent, and report writer agent. And then we create tasks. And if you've gone through the Crew AI videos, at this point, you understand what I'm doing. So we don't need to dive deep. Let me just correct this real quick. Yeah. So you don't need to necessarily, I'm not going to go through each and every step here. Just going to walk you through what each of these means, right? So obviously we create agents, we create tasks for each of these agents, and then we create the crew where you pass agents, tasks, and verbose, and then process going to be sequential so that steps happen one after the other. And then we run the research where we note the start time and end time for each of the models. So we know how long it took for them to execute a question like this. And then we create tasks, create a crew, and then we kick off the crew. Then we save the results in a file like this so that we can always go back and see how the results look like. And from this point, we basically define the UI using Streamlit, research model comparison. So you can see this is the name, research model comparison. And then we have the title, deep research model comparison. Then we have on the sidebar the model configuration. So you can select more than one models. Right now I've selected all 3. And then model mapping, Gemini is going to be Gemini, OpenAI is going to be OpenAI, and Ollama is going to be Ollama. And then we tell the user to add the research query here. Once he puts in, we start the progress here in the progress bar. And once the model output for specific model is completed, we will basically show the progress bar as 100%. And as you can see, both of these models have done it. Unfortunately, Google Gemini 2.0 Flash is still going on. And we run all of these concurrently just so we can understand how long it takes for each model to do the analysis. So I'm not going to wait for Google to run this. Obviously, the previous Flash model, Flash Lite model, did a better job than the Flash 2.0. Maybe it's a thinking model and it's taking long. But honestly, I think the previous one did a better job, and I'm not necessarily happy with the 2.0 models here. So if I have to use any of these thinking models for research and I don't want to spend money, I'm going to go put my money on deep research or DeepSeek-R1. And second option, if I want to put some money, I would definitely go ahead and use the O3 mini or O1 mini, because it gives you the output. Every time I got the output in less than 2 minutes, even though it's research, looking up articles and so on. But for the same Gemini Flash, it's not, working as expected. One more thing that I would want to mention is that we use the search tool in order to do this. So Serper dev tool, and we need Serper API key for it. And obviously we need API key for Gemini, OpenAI. We don't need anything for Ollama, but you need to have Ollama set up in your computer. That said, this is the model comparison and deep research agents, which is, I tried to build something on the lines of deep research agent by OpenAI, and it does a decent job. So although it's not as detailed as the agent, it does detailed job, and you can actually configure the tasks and descriptions here in case you want to make it way more detailed. So this is a great template for you to move forward and make changes in case you want to try it out and make modifications to the flow. But for now, this is going to be it. Thank you so much, and if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know.